Cape Verde has done the impossible. Against all odds, this small West African nation has made history at the FIFA World Cup.
Yo, the Cape Verde goalkeeper, what a save! What a save!
Vozinha today at 40 years old.
What a goalkeeper, man. Yesterday he was phenomenal again. He deserves all the praise and all the accolades that he's getting now.
Vozinha gained over 1 million new Instagram followers overnight.
His life changed in like 95 minutes. Like, no matter what happens from here, no matter what the rest of his career looks like, his entire life changed yesterday with that one performance.
Spain threw everything at tournament debutants, Cape Verde, but they hit a literal brick wall.
From the moment the final whistle echoed across the stadium, the world knew his name. Not because he had lifted the World Cup, not because he had scored the winning goal, but because at 40 years old, a goalkeeper from one of Africa's smallest nations had stood fearlessly against some of the greatest footballers on the planet and refused to back down. For millions of football fans, he seemed to appear out of nowhere. But the truth is, his story had been decades in the making. Long before the roaring crowds, before the television cameras, and before his remarkable World Cup performances made international headlines, Josimar José Évora Dias, better known as Vozinha, was simply a young boy growing up on the island of São Vicente in Cape Verde. Born on the 3rd of June 1986 in the coastal city of Mindelo, football wasn't just entertainment, it was a way of life. Life, however, was far from easy. Vozinha was raised primarily by his grandparents, while his mother worked tirelessly to provide for the family. Resources were limited, opportunities were few, and the dream of becoming a professional footballer often felt impossibly distant. Yet, those difficult years shaped the person he would become. Unlike outfield players who could influence every attack, goalkeepers often spend long periods waiting, watching, knowing that one single mistake could define an entire match. Vozinha embraced that responsibility from a young age. His nickname, Vozinha, meaning little voice in Portuguese, stayed with him throughout his career. Ironically, the quiet nickname would one day belong to one of the loudest leaders on the pitch, constantly organising his defenders and inspiring confidence throughout the team. His football journey began with Clube Sportivo Mindelense, one of Cape Verde's most successful clubs. There, he started building a reputation as a dependable goalkeeper with sharp reflexes, excellent positioning, and remarkable composure under pressure. But talent alone wasn't enough. Cape Verde is a nation of just over 500,000 people. Its domestic football league receives little global attention, and opportunities to reach Europe's biggest stages are extremely limited. Unlike many famous football stars who were discovered as teenagers by elite academies, Vozinha had to take the longer road. It became a journey that would lead him across continents. He left his homeland searching for opportunities wherever football could take him. His career would eventually include spells in Angola, Moldova, Portugal, Cyprus, and Slovakia. Some clubs offered stability, others brought uncertainty. There were moments of progress followed by setbacks that could have convinced many players to give up. But giving up was never part of his story. Year after year, he continued working, training, traveling, adapting to new countries, learning new languages, facing new cultures, all while carrying the quiet hope that one day those sacrifices would mean something greater. For many footballers, success arrives early. For Vozinha, success demanded patience unlike almost anyone else. In 2012, everything changed. He received his first call-up to the Cape Verde national team. For a player who had spent years quietly building his career away from the spotlight, wearing his country's colours represented something far greater than football. Cape Verde itself was beginning to write an extraordinary football story. For decades, the nation had been considered outsiders in African football. But slowly, generation by generation, belief began to grow. The Blue Sharks were no longer satisfied with simply competing. They wanted to make history. Vozinha quickly became an important figure within that movement. His calm presence in goal gave confidence to an ambitious team determined to prove that a small island nation could stand alongside Africa's traditional football powers. As the years passed, he earned the respect of teammates, coaches, and supporters alike. He wasn't the loudest star, he wasn't the most famous player, but whenever Cape Verde needed someone to protect their goal, they knew exactly who they could trust. Season after season, he continued answering the call of his country. With every international appearance, his experience became increasingly valuable. By the time many goalkeepers begin thinking about retirement, Vozinha was still preparing himself for what would become the greatest chapter of his entire career, a chapter that no one could have predicted. For most footballers, reaching the FIFA World Cup is the ultimate dream. For Vozinha, it became something even more extraordinary. It became proof that perseverance can outlast doubt. Cape Verde had never played at a FIFA World Cup before. For decades, the tiny Atlantic island nation had watched football's greatest tournament from afar, wondering if their moment would ever come. Then history was made. Against the odds, Cape Verde qualified for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, becoming one of Africa's most inspiring stories. For the players, it was a dream fulfilled. For the country, it was a moment that united an entire nation. And standing between the posts was a goalkeeper who had spent nearly 2 decades waiting for an opportunity like this.
Bubishta's all smiles. There it is. There is the full-time whistle. And the celebrations can begin for real now because Cape Verde have qualified for the World Cup. Let that sink in.
At 40 years old, Vozinha arrived at his first World Cup. Many believed his age would be a disadvantage. Instead, it became one of his greatest strengths. By the time he arrived at the World Cup, Vozinha had already represented Cape Verde for more than a decade. He had become one of the country's most experienced players, earning more than 50 international caps while helping Cape Verde establish itself as one of Africa's most respected emerging football nations. He had featured in multiple Africa Cup of Nations tournaments, becoming a leader whose calmness spread throughout the squad. Cape Verde were drawn into a difficult group alongside Spain, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia. On paper, many expected them to finish near the bottom. Some predicted they would struggle to compete against footballing giants with far greater resources and international experience. But football has never been played on paper. It is played on courage, it is played on belief, and Cape Verde had plenty of both. From the opening whistle of their campaign, they wanted to compete. Their organisation frustrated opponents. Their discipline impressed neutral fans. And whenever danger arrived, one man was always ready. Vozinha. Time after time, he denied attackers with remarkable composure. His positioning was exceptional. His command of the penalty area inspired confidence throughout the defence.
40-year-old goalkeeper Vozinha delivered the performance of his life, making 7 saves to earn a heroic clean sheet and the most memorable result in the country's history. He scooped up the man of the match award and gained a whopping, have you seen this? How many followers did he gain?
2 million?
Yeah, 1.9 million followers.
Amazing.
That's unbelievable.
Deserved. After
the game, the legend that is Darren Bent was full of praise for his performance.
When the final whistle blew, Cape Verde had earned a famous goalless draw against one of football's global superpowers. Vozinha finished the match with 7 crucial saves, producing one of the greatest goalkeeping performances of the tournament. Around the world, fans who had never heard of Vozinha before that night suddenly wanted to know everything about him. Social media exploded with praise. Football analysts highlighted his positioning, leadership and experience. Supporters admired the composure of a goalkeeper who looked completely unfazed by the biggest stage in world football. Almost overnight, he became one of the breakout stars of the tournament.
I cry because I grew up with my grandparents, and unfortunately they are not here. They died few years before, and they was everything for me. They give everything for me, for my life, and also because my mom, she didn't manage to be here because of the money you have to pay for the visa. We didn't manage on time, and I would like she to be here, but I'm very happy also, and I'm very happy for all the Cape Verdean people.
His story became even more emotional away from the football pitch. For years, his mother had made enormous sacrifices so that her son could continue chasing his dream. Travelling to the World Cup to watch him play had once seemed impossible because of the financial cost. But members of the Cape Verdean community came together to make that dream a reality. Together, they raised enough money for her to attend the tournament. For the first time, she watched her son represent his country on football's biggest stage with her own eyes. It was a moment that meant more than football, more than statistics, more than clean sheets. It was the reward for decades of sacrifice shared by an entire family. As Cape Verde continued their remarkable World Cup journey, belief spread far beyond their islands. Neutral fans began adopting them as their second team. Pundits praised their discipline, opponents respected their courage, and at the heart of it all stood the oldest goalkeeper in the tournament. The goalkeeper who had spent so many years away from the spotlight had finally found himself exactly where he belonged, and waiting in the knockout stage was perhaps the biggest challenge of them all: the reigning world champions. Argentina, a team led by Lionel Messi. It was a match that would test every ounce of courage, resilience, and belief that Vozinha had spent a lifetime building. From the opening whistle, Argentina controlled possession, just as many expected. But every attack was met by a goalkeeper who refused to surrender. Vozinha threw himself into challenges. He denied Argentina time and time again, frustrating some of the finest players in world football. Messi found the net to give Argentina the lead, and many believed that would finally break Cape Verde's resistance. Instead, something remarkable happened. Cape Verde fought back. They equalised. Argentina scored again. Cape Verde equalised again. Each time the world champions thought they had escaped, the tiny island nation found another reason to believe. The match stretched into extra time. By then, football fans around the globe had forgotten about underdogs and favourites. They simply wanted to witness history. Vozinha continued producing save after save. By the end of the match, he had made 8 saves against the reigning world champions. Across Cape Verde's World Cup campaign, he finished with 18 saves, one of the tournament's standout goalkeeping records. Every save brought Cape Verde one step closer to what would have been one of the greatest upsets in World Cup history. Cape Verde's incredible journey had finally come to an end. The scoreboard read 3-2 in favour of Argentina, but numbers alone could never tell the full story. The final whistle did not bring disappointment alone, it brought applause. Their admiration reflected what millions of football fans around the world were already thinking. Cape Verde had earned the respect of the champions.
The story is, was, and always will be Cape Verde. What I witnessed today is just like when you believe that you can, that's what can happen. Yes, I know they ended up losing the game, but they won our hearts. And I have to say that's just magical. Wow. Once again, obrigado, Cape Verde.
For Vozinha, however, the emotions ran even deeper. His dream had never been about becoming famous. It had never been about personal awards. It had never been about headlines. His greatest wish had simply been for his mother to witness him playing for Cape Verde at the FIFA World Cup. That dream had finally come true. Everything else became an unexpected blessing, a reward for decades of sacrifice, a reward for years of perseverance, a reward for never giving up when so many opportunities seemed out of reach. In the days that followed, the football world couldn't stop talking about the 40-year-old goalkeeper. Videos of his saves spread across social media. Football pages everywhere celebrated his remarkable performances. Almost overnight, Vozinha became one of the defining faces of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. One day, another generation of Cape Verdean children will dream of playing in a World Cup, and when they ask who first made them believe it was possible, they will remember the goalkeeper who stood fearlessly against the world's greatest players and made an entire nation dream. His name is Vozinha.